Please help me out here. When was the last time you had to negotiate price in your personal life? Do you remember a purchase where you knew there's a discount to get, you just need to ask for it? But do you also remember how uncomfortable you might have felt when actually asking the question on the price? Price negotiations can be painful, stressful, but luckily they are getting rare. They were a big thing over centuries, but at least in geographies and depending on the culture, but in most part of the Western world, they're almost disappearing. For most consumers, the last significant negotiation they had to go through was when buying a car. I work in the automotive industry and help car manufacturers around the world to think of their sales journey. And people ask me, what is it with auto? Why is price negotiation still such a big thing in automotive where everybody dislikes it? Here's the thing. Car manufacturers produce cars and then sell them to independent retailers. And those independent retailers find their customers and negotiate price with every individual customer. This leads to a rather extreme scenario. The traditional car manufacturers, such as Toyota, Ford, BMW, Mercedes, Stellantis Group, if they were to sell 5,000 vehicles of one specific configuration, they would sell it to 5,000 different price points, because every deal is individually negotiated, means 5,000 negotiations. This creates a small group of people which did a great deal. But for the vast majority of consumers, it means they have the feeling and the reality, actually, that they have overpaid. And there are logical reasons why someone should pay more. So if you buy one car and someone else buys 10 cars, like a business owner, it's fair that a higher discount is applied. But if your neighbor, for no other reason than being more aggressive and persistent in negotiations, got a better deal, it kind of feels wrong. And let me be explicit about the spread here. It's significant. What you see here are the transaction prices of one car in one market at a given point of time. And you see in the top left corner, there's a group which managed to buy this car at list price for $40,000, almost no discount got applied. Let's call this group the negotiation avoiders. In the bottom right corner, you see a group, a lucky group, which managed to buy the same car in the same market for $24,000, so almost 40% below list price. Let's call this group the negotiation extremist. And this could be, by the way, you and your neighbors. So you might think at this stage, I'm the guy knowing the data, knowing the industry, and I should be going straight for 40%. I'm not. But don't blame me, because many of you also knew before I showed the slide that there's a huge discount you can get in auto, and you didn't get the 40%. Why is that? Negotiation avoiders, and please count me in, when it comes to the point of actually negotiating price, oh gosh, it gets awkward. Sales people eat us for breakfast. I'm not talking niche group of people. I mean serious business people who negotiate price in their business life all day long. They mess up buying a car and negotiating a great deal. It is so awkward that this group, even months after they have purchased the car, they keep researching the price of the car they already have just to confirm what they already knew they have overpaid. And then there is this group of extremists, the negotiation extremists. This is a group of people who love the challenge, they love the competition. Sometimes it feels like they're more interested in getting a great deal than they actually in buying a car. But this group, they would shop around between dealers of the same brand. They would engage on intense back and forth with the sales agent. They would be even brave enough to ask to speak to the sales manager to see if they can squeeze another percentage point. They would often use poor acting skills to display how much they dislike the product they actually want to buy. And yes, they would have the patience to wait a month or two until they get what they want, the 40%. It's impressive, and I'm not judging at all. It takes courage and personality to pull that off. And I'm a bit jealous about the 40% they're getting, but oh my gosh, in no world can I imagine to be that person. I'm still not judging, but it's not only me. A significant amount of people, actually the vast majority of people, hate those negotiations. And if you were to videotape consumers, which are more on the red side of the chart, at the moment of them buying the car, you would see it. The first thing you would see is consumers would postpone any discussion on price to the latest moment possible. Shortly before asking the question, they would even come up with the most ridiculous, irrelevant questions about the product just to win a few seconds before actually asking the price question. And then, oh gosh, then it gets really interesting because you would see grown-up people out of nowhere, they get smaller, they crumble, you would see them stare to the ground, their voice would get quiet, and then they stumble something like, is there something we can do about the price? Look, the stress level at this stage is so high, they can't even receive the answer to the question they just raised. And the sales agent just simply could say, no, it's actually a good price, nothing I can do. And all the bravery will be killed, no follow-up questions to ask. Like, it does take no research and no science to prove that it is so wrong to do this to your customers. However, we did the research and we did the science, and we found that 2 out of 3 consumers would be willing to pay $1,000 incremental on top on their purchase price just to avoid the situation. Just to avoid not having a negotiation, everybody would pay the same and they would have full peace of mind. $1,000, this is how much people hate negotiations. So it doesn't fly for consumers, but it flies for the car manufacturers and the dealers, I guess. No, it's not. Actually, it ruins brands. Most of the car manufacturers try to proclaim a premium customer experience. Some of them are going further and saying, like, it's a luxury experience we want to create here. But price research, price comparison, price settlement, it's the opposite of luxury. In luxury, we want to make wealthy people, or at least those who pretend to be wealthy, feel that price doesn't matter and is not the most important thing. It also hurts the dealers, especially those dealers who are in condensed networks. 2 out of 3 report the biggest competitor they have is not a dealer of a different brand, it's a dealer of the same brand. Because this whole system of price negotiation fosters a situation where you have a very unhealthy inter-brand competition because people keep comparing prices. And it also kills online sales. Online could be a really cool thing to automotive because it could simplify the customer purchase, it could optimize supply chains, and almost every car manufacturer is trying their version of an online model. But they're all failing. The reason is nobody trusts the online price. Everybody knows, even the price is attractive online, this is my starting point to go to my retailer and negotiate. Nobody trusts it, nobody buys online. So economists for years were arguing against the fixed price model because you need to understand specific customer needs and the market. But this practice led to 5,000 price points for 5,000 vehicles in 5,000 negotiations. It doesn't fly for consumers. And we have seen that traditional car manufacturers were playing that. But the industry challenges, such like the new electric vehicle players like Tesla and Rivian, they have not only shaken up the industry with new electric vehicles, they're also piloting a pretty new customer experience because they are selling their cars at a fixed price model. A bit like you would buy an iPhone. So the price is the price might change in any given moment of time. There might be even temporary campaigns available, but in those moments of discount, the price applies to everyone. There's no such a thing like negotiations. And most or many car manufacturers or pockets of geographies try to pilot the same. So they're going in this direction. However, going for a fixed price model also might be a bit risky. Because if you have only one shot instead of 5,000 shots to be right with your price, you better be right with your price. Otherwise, you mess up business big time. And being right with your price takes a bit because you need to understand the elasticities, the supply chain availability, inventory levels, the competitive situation, a lot of factors. Maybe this complexity also is maybe one of the reasons why it wasn't applied so far. However, AI is changing the game here because we have seen and built models are capable to solve this complexity and to find close to optimal price scenarios for any moment of time. So, having said all that, I strongly believe price negotiations in automotive and other industries, they will disappear. And I'm sure it's not only me, many of you will like it as well. Maybe not all of your extremist neighbors, but the majority of consumers for sure. Imagine a future where the next car you will buy, you go online, you find an attractive product, you find a price you can afford, and you would know from the moment on, this is the price you will end up paying. And then you would go offline to a retailer, and instead of meeting a sales agent, you would meet a product genius. So someone who is all about the product, the features in and around the car. Someone who technically even can't change the price because the price is the price. And by end of the discussion, you would not be forced into this painful, crumbling situation of asking the ugly question on discount. Wouldn't that be cool? See you in the future.